Hi, my name is John. In this episode, I'm going to be working on a machinist vise to eliminate a couple things that have been driving me nuts for quite a few years, probably at least 10 years. Welcome to another episode. After the last job that I did, which was to mill from plastic, I had a lot of plastic chips inside the machine, so I decided to clean up the machine with my vacuum. And I had the vise off already because I was using toe clamps to hold the plastic block in place. Since I had the vise off, I thought I'd take a look at trying to fix a few things that have been bugging me for quite a few years. So the way these machinist vices work is you have this piece in here which goes into slots that you can see along here. And this set screw does not do a very good job of holding that pin in place. So sometimes the pin moves to the side, and then it's hard to catch that into the slots at the top because it goes deeper into one side than the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off, and you can have a closer look at it. And you can see it's actually kind of chewed up. So I'm going to take the screw, loosen it. And what I'd like to do is create a flat spot, like right there. So I don't have many options. This is out of my machine, and I don't have any V-blocks, so I can't really mill it. So I'm going to try to use a cheap grinder to see if I can grind a spot in there that'll work to keep it centered. This is my cheap grinder, and you can see when I turn it on, it's not very well balanced, so it goes all over the place. But I'm going to see if it works well enough to make a, yep, you can see there, if it'll focus, that it's creating a spot. So I'm going to try to create a little bit of a spot there that'll help capture it in place and see how that works. And that might even be enough. So I'll put it back in here and see if that does a better job. So I'm going to make sure it's straight up and down, move it into the center. Yeah, that keeps it from moving. So I'll assemble it, and hopefully that'll be the end of the problems I have with keeping this more or less in the center. Okay, I've reassembled it. You can see it moves back and forth. If I pull up on this, it locks into place, and then I can move it. And now I'm not having to fight with it the way I used to. So I'd say that's an improvement. Well, I thought so. Okay, I need to keep it reasonably tight. It does, what I might want to do is see if I can get a longer pin, because what I'm noticing is that I'm still having issues. I started thinking about this some more, and I realized that, as I mentioned, one of the problems is that this can rotate freely. So when the pin is in here, the pin can turn around and not go in these slots anymore. And it has suddenly occurred to me that there's a really simple fix for this, which is to create a 3D printed part that will go around this and keep it from rotating. Okay, here's the part, and let's put it onto, I have no idea what this is called, but let's put it onto that. So I want to get the holes lined up on both sides, and then I'll make sure it's lined up by putting this through on both sides. And then I want to make sure this dimple that I created, it's right in the center. Push it through about halfway, and then I can tighten the screw. Okay, so this is in there very firmly, and now when I put this in here, you can see this keeps it from rotating, which means that when I put it up through here, it can be fairly loose, but it won't rotate. So that means I can loosen it and then have it engage in one of the slots, tighten it, or engage in another slot, and now it'll work really well and be easy to use. So let me assemble that. Okay. Get it started. And then flip it back up. And now you can see that I can move this back and forth really easily and then just get it to where I want and then screw it in place. And that is far better. For those of you who are not familiar with this type of vise, this is called a machinist vise. And one of the things that's nice about it is it has this screw that goes through here to a clamp on the bottom, as you can see. This is after I made the mod. And the clamp, this rod can go into various different places here. Now the advantage of using a screw through this way is that when you tighten the clamp down, it pulls this block down. So it keeps this block from lifting up and therefore clamps your part very strongly in place, keeping it down, which is exactly how you want it to behave, keeping it pushed down onto the parallels. So that's one of the things I really like about the vise. But as I mentioned, the thing I hated about the vise is that this part could rotate much too easily. Now it's really easy to just loosen this. You get it out of the yeah, easier said than done sometimes. Okay, so I guess I didn't loosen it enough. Okay, that's it. So you loosen it enough, and then once you tighten it, it pulls into one of those slots. Again, if you push it forward, then it runs out of the slot. So what you need to do is kind of push it down to keep it so it's not engaged, and then pull down this way, and then you can engage it in the nearest slot. So if I have a piece of bar like this, you can see that that's about the right distance, and then as I tighten this up, you can see it moves forward, and it also pushes down on here. And this will clamp this really well in place, which is why I like this vise. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and if you like this episode, give it a thumbs up. Also, if you want to be notified of when new videos are available, make sure that down below you click on the little bell icon, and that will make sure that you're notified via email when I have a new video up and ready for you to watch. See you next time.